I want to talk about Star Wars and all that, but we got a guest that's about to make a couple guests that will be in here in a second. But what's up, Kenny?
Well, we could probably talk about Star Wars with them also, because Adam actually had experience working on the first one and the second one.
Oh, very cool.
1 and 2, yeah.
No, I had a thought in my head, but it's like past now.
Of course it is.
But I was going to hand out the T-shirts if you want me to.
Yeah, the T-shirts are here. I guess we'll be handing them out in a few minutes.
Yeah, why not?
All right, go down there and get on the phone, and we'll go to you in between talking to these guys. Okay?
Those guys, the MythBusters, are really cool.
Do you want to ask them something before you leave?
Well, me and my boys are big fans of their show.
Really?
Yeah, they're smart. They blow things up. They do educational things.
I've watched the show many times.
Yeah, they're good like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's get the guys from MythBusters in here, Eric.
It's a very fast-paced show they got.
Don't scare anybody. Step away from that chair a little bit, you freak.
Yeah, because these guys aren't going to know how to handle you.
Here they are. It's Jamie and Adam. How you doing, guys?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, very good. I'm like starstruck now. I watch the show every single time it's on. Freaking out. It's actual celebrities to me.
Really?
Anybody else they drag in here? Like, you know, Ozzy came in, and of course Jimmy Norton's a big fan of Ozzy Osbourne, and he sat down, but it was just like, Ozzy. But you guys are like, you know, I watch you on TV. You're like real celebrities to me.
Do you want Kenny to ask the first question before he goes downstairs?
Oh.
This guy's 6'4", and he's big and stupid.
He's really, he's
very stupid.
He's like big and
Here he is.
You were calling me?
But
yes.
He likes the show.
Kenny, be nice to our guests.
No, I'm excited
It's
these
Adam
guys
and Jamie from MythBusters.
No, I got to get their autograph for my boys.
Really?
Yeah, they're huge fans. We never miss a show. These guys do cool stuff. They blow things up. They play with mannequins. That's what I like.
Yeah, what's your question?
Do you ever learn anything?
No, that's impossible. You know me.
That's impossible.
Yeah, that's just beyond comprehension for me. But these guys look really smart.
They are smart.
Yeah, they got a cool show, I'm telling you.
All right, what's the
listen
question?
to me when I'm telling you something.
But what's the question?
No, hi.
Hi, how you doing?
No, I'm not high.
You have nothing.
No, see how witty he was?
Would you go out and give out T-shirts?
You don't have anything? You don't
All
have a
right,
question for these guys?
Thank you, MythBusters, for coming to the Opie Anthony show.
Our pleasure.
All right, I'm sorry.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Sorry for that distraction.
All right, so back to Anthony here. Adam and Jamie from MythBusters in studio. Yes.
I absolutely want to know how you hooked up with the show, because it seemed like one of those things that maybe if you just gave the idea out to somebody, it didn't seem like it might catch on, but it's really, really caught on. Well, and I know a lot of people that watch it and enjoy it.
Well, actually, the idea came to the mind of our producer, Peter Reese, who was a producer for a show on Discovery called Beyond 2000 for about 10 years.
Yeah.
A technology magazine-style show. And he thought up the idea for MythBusters and pitched it to Discovery. And when they were looking around for talent, he had actually interviewed Jamie and I as part of the original Robot Wars, the precursor to BattleBots, back in like 1996.
Well, Jamie was a competitor
with his lethal robot Blendo.
Blendo.
Yeah, it was about the nastiest thing that had ever been made at that point, and so
we had 4 matches, and none of them lasted longer than about 4 seconds.
What type of bot was it?
It was the first of what they call spinners, and so it was essentially a 150-pound flywheel spinning at about 500 RPM.
I noticed the flippers usually did better against the spinners.
Well, not against our spinner.
Not against yours?
No. We just had to touch them, and it was over.
They were just flying against the wall or something.
We had the distinction of when BattleBots finally came, we could see that the arena accommodated for Blendo specifically.
Really?
With a roof on the arena. Because we kept tossing pieces of our opponents up over the barrier and into the audience, and that's why they kept on.
That adds an element of fun to the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd put it this way. When Blendo was spun up, it was the equivalent of getting hit by a chunk of brass the size of your fist going the speed of sound. That was the math.
Damage.
Well, so when Peter called up Jamie and back in, I think, the beginning of 2002 and said, would you be interested in hosting this show, the science show on Discovery Channel? And Jamie said, well, I think I might be interested, but I'm not sure I'd actually be dynamic enough to hold a show on my own. But I've got this friend, and together we might make a good team. And we shot a 14-minute demo reel we sent to them, and apparently they loved it. They sent it to Discovery, and Discovery said to us, these are just the geeks we were looking for.
Really?
And apparently they said to each other, just what we need, a couple of homosexuals from San Francisco.
Oh, my God.
But we're not gay.
We're not gay.
You make the beret look cool again, though, bro. I gotta give it to you, man.
I definitely, the personalities are definitely different. I watched the kind of like the outtake show that you guys put together, which is really, really funny. And it seems like a lot of people kind of goof on you, Jamie, a little bit about your personality, and you're kind of, the business guy out of the crew.
Well, they goof on both of us, and I think the choice of us as a team turned out to be a really good call that might not be apparent when you watch the show, and that's because we have what I think of as binocular vision. When we're dealing with a subject, we're coming at it from such different personalities and points of view that it really displays the subject matter, which, I mean, we clown around a lot, we have a lot of fun, but ultimately we'd like to get as much science in there, because that's, you may watch the show because it's funny, but you'll stay with the show because there's a lot of interesting content in it.
I'm a complete techno geek, so I just love when you guys and what you were just talking about, the when you have to attack a problem and build two separate things alone. The way you guys go about it is just hysterical at the differences. I mean, Adam, you really come off as like the clown that just, you look and go, how did he even get that to work, kind of thing, and you always expect Jamie to build a better machine than yours. Sorry, I don't mean to insult you or anything.
I'd like to point out
the personality just comes out.
Hey, I'd like to point out that I found a needle in a haystack first.
That is true. I did see that. You're a little.
Wait, how do you go about finding the needle in the haystack?
Well, they gave us 4 different needles of different sizes: small, medium, really large, and then they gave us this bone needle. And, of course, the first thing we'd both think of is some type of magnetic finder or metal detector. The bone needle made it exponentially more difficult. So, actually, Jamie used fire to burn all of his hay and look through the ashes for the small bits. And I used water to actually, these agitating paddle wheels that fed the hay through a trough, and hopefully the bone needle would fall to the bottom. And I also had magnets to find we both had magnets to find the metal needles. And our producer, of course, always liking a good challenge, gave us 1,000 pounds of hay, which, like, if you fluffed it, is enough to fill this room about 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, while Adam's worked better, mine was cooler.
It was. Fire is always cooler, and that's part of the show that I think everybody loves, and I envy you guys. The amount of explosives you guys get to use is amazing, and each time it seems to be like you're getting more and more.
Well, yeah, I mean, the most recent really large one we did, blowing up the cement truck.
The cement truck was amazing.
What was that one about?
Well, the myth is, can you use a stick of dynamite to clean out cement that's hardened in the side of a cement truck?
You've heard about there is a myth out there that some guy had left the cement in the cement truck and it dried, and then they used dynamite to loosen it up.
Yeah, and it turned out that a single stick of dynamite inside a truck with a little residue in it is, I mean, we don't want to recommend it, but it actually works quite well.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of sends out a shock wave and it loosens the stuff and it makes it easier to clean out. But of course,
it looks really boring.
Yeah, there's
puff
like
of smoke.
Yeah, there's this
puff out the back.
Yeah, so doing what we do on the show, we had to take it as far as we could, and that involved 800 pounds of what is called ANFO, which is a fertilizer diesel fuel mix, and we had to be about 1.5 miles away to see what that would do.
The truck disappeared.
The camera was 1 mile away, and parts of the truck flew over the camera.
Wow.
And when we tried to get, this is actually one of the things we love about the show, we tried to get a permit to actually blow up a cement truck, and it turned out there's nobody in the world licensed to use enough explosives to blow up a cement truck. So our researchers, who are this brilliant team of 4 researchers that can get us to do anything, found that, well, why don't we go to the guys who write the permits, even if a permit doesn't exist? And she got the FBI bomb squad
great idea.
to agree to hold a training exercise.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what they called it. And, I mean, the FBI bomb squad, I have to say, is the tightest crew we've ever worked with. Those guys are great. They also helped us out on a myth for, well, we're hosting Shark Week this July.
Oh, you are?
And they helped us out on a
Week.
myth for Shark Week. Can you blow up a scuba tank by shooting it with a 30-06?
From Jaws, of course.
Yeah, we've learned not to egg on the normal pyros because there can be problems But the bomb squad, the FBI, you can't mess with them. They're going to do what they know how to do, and you'll be safe.
I'm amazed at some of the stuff you get away with doing. Yeah, you would think that nobody would ever allow you to do this. When you took the jet engine, and the rumor, of course, is that the thrust coming out of the jet engine could flip the vehicle over. You ever see that one?
I've heard the myth. Sure.
Yeah, it happened down in Rio de Janeiro, and that was actually one of our single great failure, that myth.
Yeah.
Because we were down in the Mojave Desert, and we were trying to find someone with a 747 that they would turn on and let us have a car behind. And we found that out in the Mojave Desert Airport, there is they mothball planes out there because it's perfect, no precipitation, the weather's great. And
I've heard about that. They retire planes out in the middle of the desert, right?
Yeah, because they last forever out there.
Right.
So there's these companies that take these planes out of the hangars every month and just start them up to make sure the engines keep running. And we were like, we just want to be behind one of these planes when you turn it on.
Wow.
And they were totally cool about it. And we're standing out there on the runway. We've got a 747. It's just about to fire up its engines. We've got a remote-controlled taxi cab right here. And the insurance company's on the phone with us saying, we're no longer comfortable with doing this. You can't do it. And we're thinking, do we just do it? Do we just push the car 50 feet forward and say, screw it?
Yeah, and it was so frustrating because what's the plane gonna suck the car around the front of the intake? It's way behind the jet. The jet is gonna push the car away from the airplane. What's the problem?
You guys look like you're pretty safe at what you're doing, even though it's insane, some of the things. One of the most unsafe things was Adam inside the remote-control car that Jamie was he was controlling with a remote.
Not controlling.
It proceeded to just drive straight into a fence.
Well, we had a little problem with some switches. What can I say?
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Couple problems with the switches?
Yeah, there was some that didn't work.
He lost control. The best, my favorite part of that is as the car's driving away and the staff is all kind of watching in horror, you hear me go, Jamie, from the inside of the car.
How did you get how do you get insurance for those things? It seemed impossible.
Well, we have a routine that we work through with regard to the insurance and our safety in general, which we're very concerned about. And it's like a flow chart that we developed specifically for MythBusters, and it rates the risk and the probability of having a problem with that risk. And it sort of is one of these things where you kind of follow the numbers, and if you end up in the really far corner, it's in the black zone, and that's a problem. And we've noticed
we're always in the black zone.
Other stuff that you just couldn't do.
What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, we could drop a car on somebody, and how likely is that? Well, even if it's really unlikely, the fact that it means death, we're in the black zone.
Other things that you just couldn't do? Based on insurance or somebody saying,
we always
no,
figure out a way of doing it.
Figure out a way of doing it?
Yeah, even if it means doing it like a replica of it or something else.
Or doing it with the crash test dummy while we're all standing behind a bunker.
Yeah. You ever afraid you're going to run out of myths?
Well, not at all. The answer to that one is, when are people going to start doing stupid stuff?
There's no end to this stuff, and really by this point the fans have really dialed into what works and doesn't work on the show, and about 30% of the myths we test now come right off the Discovery fan site and emails that Jamie and I get directly.
That's cool.
And people are really plugged in.
Someone on the Instant Feedback is writing in saying the best episode was when one of you guys went across the San Francisco Bay in the raincoats, like the Escape from Alcatraz.
Oh, yeah.
The Escape from Alcatraz.
Which they've said for years can't be done, right?
It's my personal favorite because, there's been a lot of reenactments of it. They've done it on a lot of TV shows, but Jamie and I read all 1,800 pages of the FBI report. We went to the Maritime Museum in San Francisco where they have all the artifacts from the investigation. We looked at them, and I think our builders' eyes were the first to really come up with a truly accurate rendition of the boat they probably made. And we had no idea. My favorite is when we have no idea what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. And we had no idea if this boat was going to be remotely seaworthy. And Jamie climbs in and squirms across the bottom in the middle of the night north of Alcatraz. And that thing carried us all the way to the Golden Gate Bridge in like an hour, 3.5 miles.
Yeah, and it was the same conditions that they were under?
Exact same tidal conditions, same temperature, same weather, same wind. We really, really went the extra mile. And the boat was built out of 24 rubber raincoats.
Jesus.
Yeah, we even had to go to the trouble of finding actual latex raincoats like what they would use in those days, and and most of them are vinyl or some other plastic today. So it was very authentic.
And we had to climb through those little holes.
Yeah.
We had to climb through the holes that they had dug in the cells. They were like, "Sure, go ahead," and I was amazed that we were both able to fit.
That isn't some of the roughest things you've done though, because Adam, I've seen you go above and beyond with the Goldfinger.
Well, I have contributed at this point every single major body fluid to the show.
Yeah.
To the name of science.
Except for spinal fluid. We haven't done that yet.
He's not afraid of the anal probe.
Whoa, hey!
Well, there was there's the myth that the girl in Goldfinger, the movie Goldfinger, painted with the gold paint, that she died because she couldn't breathe. Her skin. You need some kind of you need to be able to breathe through your skin, so they leave that strip down the spine so you could breathe. And well,
it's total crap.
Yeah, it's crap. And Adam tried it out, so they painted him gold, and they wanted to monitor everything: his heart rate, and,
core body temperature.
Core body temperature.
Oh,
so they actually stuck a thermometer up his ass as he's just standing there on television.
And all of a sudden you start singing Moon River.
Moon River.
That old gag, right?
You're not the shy one.
No, well, you know that the EMT who actually did that, Sanjay, we use the same EMT company for a lot of our myths, so we're real familiar with those guys. Sanjay hasn't been out since then.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's got a little too much crap from his coworkers for it, because I asked him if he'd respect me in the morning.
Yeah. Let's go to the phones, Anthony. They have exploded. Say hi to Floyd. Hey, Floyd.
Hello.
We have Jamie and Adam from MythBusters in studio today.
Yeah, guys, I got a problem with your myth that you did with the cell phone at the gas station. I deliver fuel for a living, and you guys apparently disproved that myth or busted it. But you know, in our constant training, we have continual videos where the fire department and they've caught videos just at local gas stations that have caught people using their cell phones that create fires.
Well, what we found in our research was that there was not a single recorded case in the entire world of a confirmed cell phone starting a fire. That it is likely if you're using your cell phone and filling up your tank and getting in and out of your car, you're building up a static charge. And we proved absolutely that static electricity is more than enough to ignite gasoline fumes at the pump, and that's a very dangerous situation. And someone talking on their cell phone might be more likely to not be paying attention to what they're doing. But that there is...
And we also consulted with the Petroleum Equipment Institute, PEI, which is the world authority on petroleum devices like the gas pumps. And
accidents at the pumps. They compile all the data on accidents at pumps.
I think they have a little more info than the guy that just called it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking,
I'd give it to these guys over here.
Don't get me wrong. I'm all for an industry erring on the side of caution.
Yeah.
But and we, you know, every time someone's cell phone battery blows up in their pocket, we get an email. But when you consider that there's probably 1 billion, what do you call them, like aftermarket batteries out of China in everybody's pockets, we can't find the battery that's been misbuilt that's going to short. We try and short
while
batteries.
you're filling up your gas tank.
Exactly.
And there's also an interesting thing that we found out recently. The FBI bomb squad and other people that handle explosives are in a habit of, in fact, they make a rule of not having any radio transmissions in the area when they're dealing with explosives. However, they're not so concerned about the cell phones as they are about the like a high-powered police portable radio or something like that. It is apparently possible to create a spark from a radio transmission. It's just that cell phones themselves have such a low wattage that it's virtually impossible for that to happen as far as we're aware.
Every time I see the on the gas pump, don't use your cell phone now, I think of the MythBusters.
Well, you know, one thing the Petroleum Equipment Institute did tell us was in their compilation of figures per year that in the 2 years since our first test of that aired, that static electricity accidents at gas stations have gone down 60%. Ooh. So we might have actually saved 4 or 5 lives with our show.
All right, let's go to Texas, Anthony. Texas, what's up?
Hey, how's it going, you guys? You all right?
All right, how are you?
Doing good. I just wanted to call in. Jerry, Adam, love the show. Everything was like awesome. I'm a big freaking geek, and I catch it every week, and it's on TiVo, so I can watch it again. Another question I had is, are the season DVDs coming out, or are they out? And if so, where are they available?
There are DVDs available through the Discovery website. However, there's a bit of a lag time. We're not sure what exactly they're up to right now, but you can get some of them, and there will be more in the future, I'm sure.
All right. Oh, sorry about that. Let's go to Kerry in California, trying to give everyone a shot here. Kerry, what's up?
Hey, guys. You guys did a myth about blowing up various things in the sun in your car.
Yeah.
And I got a $200 bill that says this pop bottle will blow up in your car.
Yeah, you know, that was my bad.
Oh, really?
My
Yeah,
bad.
I totally screwed that one up. The myth is about a soda can or an aerosol can exploding with a lot of force in the back of a hot car, and when it came to the end of a day of, we were able to actually get these things to blow up in very hot environments, but that it was unlikely for cars to get that hot. And it turns out that all over the country there are plenty of places where cars actually get up to like 190 to 200 degrees in a car, and that's enough to heat up certain cans of soda or aerosol to blow up.
Which also brings up one of MythBusters' favorite lines, and that is that failure is always an option. You know, with us, one thing I got to say about the show for the viewers out there. We're not so concerned about providing definitive proof about some scientific fact. We're more interested in the process. For us personally, and for viewers of the show, you know, the most valuable thing that we've got to offer on this show is following us through as we're trying to figure these things out. Sometimes we get it right, sometimes we get it wrong. If we get it wrong, we'll often have another go at it. That's one of those stories that we may well have another go at.
Yeah, we're willing to say that we're wrong. You know, it's not science. Jamie's got a degree in Russian, and I've got a high school diploma. We have no qualifications.
Well, and as far as science, I think real scientists that contact us actually kind of point out the fact that that's what science is actually like. It's not like these guys in white lab coats that show up and you know, just say this is the case. It's an ongoing process. Science is a very mushy thing that you learn a few things, but it's not often real clear cut.
The process is the most fun part of the show, because obviously you would know that you cannot jump in an elevator as it's free falling and live through it. I don't think there's anybody that's going to watch that and go, I wonder how this is going to work out. But the process, that you guys doing it, the fun of being able to drop an elevator like that, that's what people tune in for.
There is a moment on every shoot, about once a week, when we all look around and we're standing there. There's a team of people downstairs in this abandoned crack hotel, and I'm upstairs with a 10,000-pound special X quick release trying to release this elevator, and we're thinking, what the hell are we doing? Who is paying to let us do this crap? It's incredible.
Oh, what a great way to make a living. The phones are just honestly just nuts.
Yeah, they're full.
Anthony in Queens, what's up?
Hey, what's up, guys? How you doing over there? I got a quick question for the MythBuster guys.
Yeah.
Are you guys ever going to do the, in hindsight, it was a bad idea to light a match myth? You guys ever
Yeah, if you guys want some ratings.
Well,
if you want,
I remember that.
Just take it to the next level.
I have to tell you, we're
talking about the gerbil in the ass story, obviously.
Oh, that one.
Remember that one? In hindsight, lighting the match was a bad idea. It started, and it was sent as a legitimate news story.
Picked up
like
as
a doctor did a press conference and talked about this.
Well, actually, we want to do a whole special on things concerning farts, and that would fit right in there. But
we're not allowed to say the word fart on the show, but
really?
It's facts about flatulence. I think we can
we
cover a wide range of things that have never been covered on television, and our challenge is to do it in a tasteful manner.
Good luck. I liked one of my favorites also involving rank smells was the dead pig inside the car.
You know, on humid days, you can still catch a whiff of it from Jamie's parking lot.
Really?
Yeah, someone is saying that's the most disgusting thing you guys have done.
They took what was the myth?
The myth is that somebody died in a classic car, and their family member cleaned them out, as it were. But they couldn't sell this classic car even for a great deal because mint condition, beautiful car. They couldn't sell it because someone had died in it, and they just couldn't get rid of the smell.
So you took dead pigs.
Yeah, we got I believe it was an '87 Corvette, and at first we just kind of put the pig in there and let it set for a while, and then the whole area out in front of the shop was like, you know, really started to get weird, and so we get packing tape and we're taping up all around the door seals, and we let that sit for a while, and then that didn't work. And so finally we got a container, a shipping container, and put it in there and
sealed it up for a few months.
Sealed it up. But, we had time-lapse cameras stuck in here, but even they couldn't handle it.
They kept failing because of the ammonia concentration.
Yeah, and that turned out to be the biggest problem with the car, was that the corrosion from all of these gases and fluids and things that kind of leave the pig and go elsewhere are extremely corrosive. And, we would have had to pull the dash and strip out every single little thing. This car had computerized things in it, and it just was, while you could in fact get the smell out of a car, it turned out to be totally impractical. Down to the point of where you would have to remove every single nut and bolt to completely pull it out of whatever it was screwed into, and clean the threads with a toothbrush and a special enzyme, and then put it back.
This stuff is this juice that was coming off the pigs, which by the time we had to clean them out were more like a hairy, bony pudding than pigs.
God.
This juice that came off them was so powerful in its smell that I could take a single drop of it, put it somewhere in your car, and you just want to sell your car.
Yeah.
Really?
And you'd never get rid of the smell.
We had this great guy that was a crime scene cleaner. That's what he made his living from. Do you remember the name of that company?
His name was Neil Smither, and he discovered his life's mission watching the scene where they cleaned up the body out of the car in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's now got this company called Crime Scene Cleaners. They have deals with hotels to clean up meth labs.
Either that company or one that's very similar.
Well, when we opened the door to that Corvette, and he was standing there watching, just laughing, as we're just squirming, he offered one of us $5,000 to lick the pig.
And he was good for it. The guy makes a lot of dough, and I knew he was good for it, and I looked at the pig, and I looked at him, and I was like, he goes, and I don't mean no tongue touching either. I was give it a good lick. And people now say to me, oh man, I would have done it. And I was like, if you were there,
no way,
you would not have done it.
Yeah, if you mention that story to both of us, it's kind of hard to describe, but we both kind of get quiet for a little bit, remembering what we went through. I mean, I had to get into that car and sit on what was left of the pig that was in the driver's seat.
Just to move the car.
Just to get the car out of the container. They had to close the door around me. And what was inside the car, actually, and we were wearing respirators, but what was inside the car wasn't anything like air anymore. It wasn't like stinky air. It was something else.
Something from another planet.
Yeah. I needed a separate air source to be able to deal with that. And
it changed Jamie's DNA.
All right, let's go to the phones. Let's go to Florida. Ryan, what's up?
Hey, I love the MythBusters.
Yeah, definitely. Jamie and Adam in studio.
The best episode ever was one where they blew up the house with the bug bombs.
Yeah.
And I got an idea for a myth for him to bust.
What do you got?
I can get Pat and Knocky in there and see how much milk he can drink before he actually hurls.
Had a little contest during Christmas. Some big fat guy came up and drank eggnog. We saw how much eggnog he could drink until he puked it up. How much was it? It's like a couple of gallons?
Yeah, gallon and a half, something like that.
Gallon, because I've heard you can't drink a gallon of milk in less than an hour.
Yeah, this guy just stunned me. It was eggnog, too.
You haven't done that myth yet on the show? Puking's always funny, man.
And I have puked on the show.
Yeah.
But I puked several times now.
Yeah.
What's the blowing up the house one?
Oh, this is one about somebody who wanted to get rid of bugs in their house, and so they went and got bug bombs. And, Bug Bomb says it's good for 800 square feet or something like that.
You do hear about this every so often.
It happens in California all the time, like
really?
7 or 8 times a year. And so they went and got 40 bug bombs, set them all off in their house, and we made we did a lot of bench testing with this, and we made several ignition sources, like a stove igniter, a wire short, a static spark.
And again, that's the fun part, is watching how you guys come up with these ways of igniting these things, or making the stove turn on.
And everything
flipping a light switch.
Yeah, and everything we tried ignited the bug bomb stuff. So we got a house actually down at a military base, Moffett Field in California, and we set off 40 bug bombs, and we were really hoping for a lot more destruction.
Yeah.
But in the end, it blew these double-pane tempered glass back doors out, and on the high-speed camera, you can see them bowing like really a good 5 or 6 inches before popping out of their frames.
The flames come shooting out the door.
Yeah.
I like that one. The other one, you cracked me up when you take the dummy and dropped him into the water and off the crane.
Yeah, that was called the hammer drop. And the premise with that one was that if you throw a large object or something like a hammer in front of you, that you'll break the water tension if you're, say, like jumping off a bridge or falling off a bridge, and that aeration or loss of water tension would allow you to survive an otherwise deadly fall. But
No.
No, it didn't work. And he was so mangled that Adam, for some reason, the worse beating the dummy takes, the more you laugh.
Oh God!
It comes out like his leg came off.
You've never heard anything like that body hitting the water from 200 feet. It was shocking. And then to find this crash test dummy, which is, you know, what we expected when we first got the crash test dummies, you could do anything to it, and to find that merely dropping him into the water would shatter his cast steel shoulders. I mean, it was appalling.
Well, recently there's a episode that we just finished, another visit to Mojave, that involved a story about whether you can survive a crash from an airplane by jumping out first and hanging on to the escape slide or the life raft. And it was done in Indiana Jones, I believe, originally.
Yeah.
And so we get a hold of this big helicopter, and we get a hold of these inflatable life things, and there were a couple of times that before we really got our act together, that Buster simply fell out, you know, because there wasn't anything really good to hold on to on the life rafts, the little strings and things.
From 2,000 feet.
Yeah, he falls from 2,000 feet, and every single part of his body was separated. It was just like seeing a grenade go off with the little bits going everywhere for quite some while.
And I was up in the helicopter. I'm hanging out the side of this like 1950s Sikorsky helicopter. And I'm looking down from 2,000 feet above the desert floor, and it is a total Wile E. Coyote moment. Because I watch Buster go until he is no longer visible, and then there's a puff of smoke.
Oh, that's great, man.
It really is.
Your background with movies, especially Adam, I was looking at your bio. You worked on Star Wars.
I worked on the first 2 Star Wars films. Jamie's worked on films as far back as RoboCop and Arachnophobia.
Really? You're a model maker?
Yeah. Worked at Industrial Light and I got my start working for Jamie, actually, on commercials like Nike, Hershey's Kisses, Owens Corning, Coca-Cola.
And of course, Charmin.
Of course. Yeah, I played Mr. Whipple's stock boy in the Charmin commercial.
Oh, no kidding.
Commercials. Back around like 1982.
You are famous.
And I guess you were squeezing it?
No, actually, I was the stock boy Jimmy. And I was nervous because the roof was leaking all over the new Charmin, and I guess Mr. Whipple's really cheap because he was still willing to sell it. The new Charmin is stronger when wet.
It's sort of like Adam's come full circle, you know, dealing with things involving bodily fluids.
Well, actually, it involved this nearly pornographic line where he shows me the quarter trick with the towelettes, you know, and it can still hold the quarters, and I say, "Gosh, Mr. Whipple, that's what I call wet strength." Oh yeah.
That's one for the Christmas tape. Christmas party.
Now, did you see the new Star Wars?
I was going to go to a matinee today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I saw it. Very good. I liked it. Much better than the previous 2 that he put out.
I want to find out if I can take my 6-year-old twin boys to it.
Probably not, unless you're like the cool dad who, you know, my father took me to Bonnie and Clyde when I was like 7 years old or something like that.
Yeah, my parents
took
took
me to Arby's.
My parents took me to Sharky's Machine when I was like 9, and I remember running out screaming at the killer freebaser.
Be parents.
Hey, let's go back to the phones here and say hi to Dan. Dan, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey.
I got a question for Adam. Last season, you had a date one night, and you wound up singeing all the hair off your eyebrows and head.
Yes.
How'd the date go?
The date went just fine, thank you.
And did you shave everything else to match?
No, it turned out only the top part was singed, and with some good scrubbing, I didn't even smell that burnt.
A little more flame action. I can't remember which one that was. Why?
That was actually the early testing on Cell Phone Destroys Gas Station. We were trying to create an environment where we got a static spark to ignite a small chamber of gasoline, and as often happens on the show, we spent 3 days just trying to prove gasoline is flammable. We were really flummoxed by it, and once by the time it finally ignited, we were so blasé and so kind of, well, nothing's going to happen, that I had my face right up against this thing, and big fireball kind of enveloped my head.
The front of his hair was gone and his eyebrows.
No kidding.
We found that Adam kind of gets frisky after he gets hurt. In fact, the last time, and the most notable time that he did this involved the vacuum cleaner motor that he. And Adam, would you care to tell us what happened after you got hurt by that one?
I've heard about this one as well.
Yeah, we were testing out some vacuum cleaner motors, and this guy at the vacuum cleaner shop handed me what he said was the most powerful motor, and we turned it on, and it felt really powerful, and I was like, put my hand up, doing like this, and I thought, and so for some reason, I kind of put my lips up to it, and I didn't know that it would yank my lips like a full 1.5 inches into its blades, but it did, and I had this total Fight Club, bloody teeth kind of moment, and I actually went home that night and asked my girlfriend to marry me.
Oh,
will you marry me?
Romantic
Baby,
moment.
give us a kiss.
Hey, really fast, we got a guy that cleans up dead bodies for a living. Keith.
Hey, man.
What's up?
Little Lick-a-Stick and MythBusters rule. You guys rock.
Thank you.
Hey, I just called because I wanted to let you guys know you did the best that you possibly could to describe what a dead body smells like, and I used to clean them up for a living. Sometimes they'd be there 2-3 months, sometimes they'd be there a couple days, and you never, ever get that smell out of your nose, and you just can't possibly get the point across to anybody how bad a human body, or even a pig, because I guess that's the most similar, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they're the most similar. You can't get the point across to people how bad and how amazingly horrible that smell is when the body decays.
Death smell, that dead body smell. Even if you're walking around your yard, the cat had died or something, that waft hits you. You know exactly what it is, and it's just so pungent.
No, the only thing that comes a close second would be homeless poo.
Well, here in Manhattan, you catch a lot of that.
Is that what you're talking about? Tippy Tom's excrement?
Yeah.
But the best one I have for you guys is it's a real quick one. 2 to 3 months, this poor lady was on her bed, had fallen out of her bed, broke her neck, and laying on the floor, she decayed everything except for her leg, and she wicked up into the drywall about 6 feet. And it was the most amazing smell in that home. The flies and everything else that took over the whole place. Punch it out. See you, boys.
Lovely story. You have a couple of additions to the show now. I've noticed some new faces.
Well, there's too many myths for Jamie and I to bust in a single season. We've got 26, 28 episodes to do per year, and there's just not enough time. So yeah, we have a B team of extra helpers.
Toss the little myths off to those people,
and they do
all the cute ones, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it the little myths at all. I mean, it's just a question of the fact that the show's become really popular. It's
but you need the cool stuff for yourselves.
Well, if it blows up, I mean, these guys are
if it involves fire, we're doing those.
No, not at all. I mean, we definitely have our we get the pick of the litter, I think. But the second team or the B team is just simply due to the fact that the show we're not able to produce as much as the viewers want.
And actually, two members of the B, we've got Tori, who's been on since last season, and Carrie, who actually. Carrie's first day as Jamie's intern, we scanned her butt for the airplane toilet myth. And then we've just brought on Grant Imahara, and both Tori and Grant are actually alumni of mine from Lucasfilm.
Really?
They both worked with me on the Star Wars films. Grant is actually one of the 3 licensed R2-D2 operators.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a nice credit to have.
But and one of
the geeks.
Oh yeah,
I love that one.
One thing about this show that may not be evident is that and the need for the second team as part of this is that we actually know what we're doing and we do all the work. We don't hire people to come in and set things up for us and then we show up and talk about it. And that inherently is a very time-consuming process that it just makes it difficult to crank out a whole lot of shows. We're as a rule, we're just covered with bruises. Our hands are all cut up, and we're probably among the hardest working people in TV right now.
Well, we had a second cameraman come out to Mojave to help cover the shoot out there. He was from California, and he'd done a lot of work on Fear Factor and a lot of work on Trading Spaces on the Learning Channel with the Carpenters and stuff. And he said. Because at the end of the day, he says, I got to tell you guys, it's a real pleasure to work with you, and you're the only hosts I've yet worked with who actually do their own work.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of them stand there when the camera's on, hold the hammer, and then...
I guess so. I found that kind of appalling. It was like the scales falling from my eyes.
And then you have Carrie, of course, you mentioned her. A lot of people writing in right now saying that she's very attractive. She's
we
the cute
like
one.
Carrie, yeah.
And you seem to... I'm just thinking you're trying to maybe get a few more viewers that wouldn't normally stop on there. When you have her in a bikini being painted and then crying, she comes off as an emotional wreck sometimes.
Why are you painting her in a bikini?
You know, it's funny. I got a lot of angry fan mail when last season started with Carrie and Scotty, both females working on the show, and people said, "Oh, you guys sold out. You're going for the hottie thing. It's total crap." And my thing is, well, you can't win. I'm happy to show women actually being able to use tools and being competent in the shop. I think that's a positive message, not a negative message.
This is we're almost done with our show.
That's our 2 minutes
wow,
warning.
that went really quick.
I know, that was crazy. Well, we got to thank you guys for coming by, Jamie and Adam from MythBusters on the Discovery Channel. What nights?
Wednesday nights at 9 on Discovery.
I'm going to start watching the show on a regular basis now.
That's great. I watch it all the time. It's like one of my favorite shows. Absolutely.
Is there anything else we're promoting with you guys today? I want to make sure you guys get your plugs out there.
Well,
just watch the show, pretty much.
Just watch the show this Wednesday. There's one of our favorite episodes that involves raising a sunken sailboat with ping pong balls.
Yeah, that's definitely a high point for us.
Adam, I just wanted to ask you about the Star Wars with the models. Obviously, a lot of CGI now.
Yeah.
Do you kind of look at that like, taking the easy way out?
You know what? I know. I'll tell you, a lot of those CGI models for the new Star Wars films were built by ex-model maker friends of mine who moved from the physical into the virtual.
Computers.
So they still do fantastic work.
Yeah. I don't know. I really enjoy the models, I think, a little more.
Well, so do we.
Yes, absolutely. So do we.
I think it looks a lot better on film than the CGI. Maybe in years to come it'll look as good on computer, but I don't know. I like the models.
It's just another. It's all just another tool.
Yeah.
So
very good, guys. Thanks for coming in, man.
Thank you.
I wish I had more questions.
You were asleep during the interview on the lesbian couch, Rich Voss.
I'm so out of it.
All right.
I'm working too hard.
Really fast, want to thank Drew Boogie for doing the Grey Wolf remix today, Anthony. Also, xratedshirts.com if you want one of those shirts that Kenny's giving out outside right now. RichVoss.com. Thanks, Rich. Ziggy's here from XM411.com and MyRadiostore.com. Thank you for everything you did today. And, of course, serious questions only for the Schnit Show later on today. That's 1-800-801-8999. It's going to be taking calls from our listeners today.
See you in Washington tomorrow.
Yes.
That's it. I'm out of here.